thank you all for taking your time this evening, this very cold evening, to come out and to support such an important event. Before I even get started, I really want to thank our team, Nancy, and all of our staff members that came together to make tonight happen. Let's give them a round of applause. They have put countless hours into this, especially at a time when we're having a huge toy drive this Friday. So if you go inside to use the restroom, you will see. So thank you so much. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You guys made this happen. Stay, and we're so happy to be a part of a global movement to bring attention importance of the Human Rights Declaration, which has been translated into over 500 languages. That alone says its significance and its importance to protecting human beings all over the world. How can we do this? The number one way is to teach people it exists, because this is something a lot of young people don't learn about every day. I know I really never learned about this until I joined, the human rights groups in college and then later on in life as an advocate. But it's really important that we share this information with students and help them understand what their rights are as individuals, as human beings, and how we can play a role in advancing humanity as a mission. So here in Pasadena, I was asked by a few people, why is Day One involved with this? And we thank the Office of the Mayor and the Human Rights Chapter here in Pasadena for this event and co-hosted. Why we're interested is because I believe in youth voice more than anything. It is where I feel I am the most educated and informed of the injustices right here in our neighborhood. So right now, as we have some amazing students from Lake Avenue Church joining us, and just taking a couple of minutes of saying, what would you do? If you could change anything here in Pasadena, what would you change? What's an injustice you can think of? And they'll say, affordable housing, better food, more affordable places where we can hang out. So when you start learning about these, you understand these are fundamental human rights that we should all be giving to our neighbors and to our fellow man. So with that, I just want to say thank you for being here tonight. We have a great program installed for you, as well as some amazing speakers and some very meaningful action tables. So with that, I'd like to bring up our very own mayor, Terry Tornick.
Having a day devoted to human rights is really something that's quite remarkable. The UN, the United Nations, adopted this in 1948. How many of you were around in 1948? Not too many people here. So this has been going on for a long time, and it's, I think, particularly, we've been doing it in Pasadena since 2008. But I think that the idea of stepping back from the day-to-day conflict and struggle, and as Christy said, to sort of think about fundamental human rights. There's a board back there that has the Sustainable Development Goals, the definition of what these human rights are about. It's on an easel, and there's a pocket-sized version on the table back here. I keep it on my desk in my office because it's really good to remember, and it has things on it. Some of my favorites are number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. Seems relevant to what I'm supposed to be doing. But we've also got responsible consumption and production. We have a recycling table over here with Gabe Silva from the city talking about what we're doing in that regard. We've got climate action. I mean, these are things that have become very kind of topical and important to all of us. But this has been defined for a long time, and I really do urge you to pick this up and take a look at it. You can put a circle around the three that you're going to work on this year, or not. But the point is, we've made this arrangement this year. The UN Association has partnered up with Day One. And this is a new relationship, but I really am grateful to Christy and Day One for participating in this, because the whole thrust of this should be oriented not toward those so much that were around in 1948, but to the youth and the kids who are going to be inheriting the planet and need to be paying attention to these basic human rights. So I do want to express my gratitude to Christy and to Day One, and of course to the United Nations Association, who've been at this for a long time. And to tell you that in Pasadena, last night we were across the street at our Monday night city council meeting until midnight, talking basically about housing. And Christy referenced quickly homelessness and affordable housing. I mean, we were on it for about 4 hours last night. We didn't solve it, but it's good to know that at least we're thinking about it, and we're trying to understand how to get at it. And that's why, again, I'm promoting these little cards. For those of you that pick them up, I'm prepared to administer a test on them next week, so you can come by my office. But thank you again. And I think your program, your featured speaker tonight, really is on point in terms of this kind of youth orientation that we're focused on, not just day one, but in the community. And so I'm grateful to her for what she's about to present to you. But enjoy your evening, and thank you for coming.
We're very privileged to be partnering with the UNA chapter here. So with that, I'd like to say I met beautiful Judith Harris just a couple months ago, and it was through an email, and before I knew it, she came over to Pasadena High School where we were convening State of the Youth, and she stayed the whole time. And that says a lot about a person. So wanting to know what youth are thinking and to sit with them at a table and to listen and then to follow up, I was very impressed, and I continue to be. So I'm very excited to continue working with you. So if I could introduce Judith Harris and Michelle Coy at this time.
Good evening. I'd like to thank all of you for being here. This is a really special evening for us. In United Nations Association, our Pasadena 60 years old, and I've been a member for 20 years, and every year we celebrate Human Rights Day, and we've never done it outside in the evening like this, and we are so grateful to Day One and to Mayor Tornek and to everyone here that this is happening. He talked about the Sustainable Development Goals, and they affect all of us. And the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as Mayor Tornek said, is for every human being on the planet. And we have a copy of it at the UNA table in the back if you'd like to take it home with you. But most of all, I thank you all for being here. And by being here, you're moving this whole agenda forward. So everyone can do something, and by being here, you're doing everything. So thank you very much.
We'll do that. Thank you again. So we all have been inspired around the world by fabulous Greta, who has brought climate change and, sustainability, I think, to the forefront of our minds for people who don't work in this field every day. And when I was told of Emerson and all the great work she's doing, you're a testament to youth today and where change happens. Whenever we look at the world and see when did change happen, it was always with young people. So you are, I think, an honor for all of us to get to witness you living your passion, and you're making a difference. So with that, Emerson, I'd like you to come up and share some words with us.
Hello, my name is Emerson Forrester. I'm 11 years old, and I'm a 6th grade student at Westridge. Last year, when I was in 5th grade, my teachers challenged me to identify a problem in our country and then find a way to solve it. I came to the conclusion that the biggest problem in our nation is that we are deeply divided. Abraham Lincoln said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." People call each other names or do hateful things to each other because they don't share the same beliefs or in different political parties. It makes me sad to think that we can't have respectful conversations regardless of whether we agree with each other or not. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Pit race against race, religion against religion, prejudice against prejudice, divide and conquer. We must not let that happen here." I believe that we have more that unites us than divides us. And I want to prove that. I decided to write a book that introduces people to their neighbors. I think that by seeing the faces of our neighbors and by learning a little about their lives, we can create greater empathy and understanding. It is my hope that when hearts are connected, heads can come together to solve problems. I made a goal to interview 50 people for my book who live or work in Pasadena. I asked 5 questions and took 1 picture. These are the questions I asked. Why did you choose to live in Pasadena, and what do you like about living here? What do you care about the most? What would you like your neighbors to know about you? Are there any bad things going on in your life? Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream. What is your dream? I learned a lot, not only about the people in Pasadena, but about interviewing people. It's not easy, particularly when I ask question 4. I've come to think about question 4 as the make it or break it question. Just to give you a little bit of background on me, my parents are immigrants to America, so I'm a first-generation American. My grandmother lives in Canada, but she was born in Ireland. She was raised in Catholic convent boarding school. She's a very proper lady, and she does not like to hug. She's reserved. When I told my grandmother about my project, she instantly told me that I should not ask people about their problems. That is not done, she said. I do not like that. But imagine she said it with an Irish accent. For my grandmother, problems are private and not to be shared. Despite my grandmother's objections, I kept the question because I think it's important. Not because our problems define us, but because we are all struggling with something, and knowing about what other people are struggling with unites us. This is Dan. His family owns Nature's Cleaners on Washington Boulevard. He's one of the first people I interviewed, and when I asked him if he had any problems, he didn't miss a beat. Everyone has problems. I am no different. He said like he was almost angry. He didn't want to share with me, but other people did answer the question. Jose Luis is a house painter, and I found him playing cards with his friends in Villa Park on Thanksgiving weekend. He told me that he was sad because his family's in Mexico and he can't bring them here. He said that he is lonely without them, and he can't get answers as to why they can't come here. Jesse Dougherty at Cabot and Sons Funeral Home finds it difficult when children pass or when someone dies and has no friends or loved ones. He says it's hard to hold back his emotions so that he can be there for people. Guadalupe Garcia's biggest problem is going to bed at bedtime. I like to end the interview by asking people about their dreams. Hori owns a bakery on Washington Boulevard, and she dreams that her children are good and follow Jesus so that when she's gone, she will leave a good name. Frank Rounds, who is a docent at the Gamble House, spends most of his days volunteering, loves life. He dreams that everyone will just get along. DeAndre and May dream of a better world for their children. Janice Chodas, who is the Director of Engineering and Science at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, dreams of making a contribution as an explorer in space. John Moses, who is 104 years old, wants to win at everything. Jordan wants to run a theater company. Tim Gurley wants world peace. Justin wants to own a home in the next 5 years. Judge Lance Ito shares the same dream as Martin Luther King Jr., that we will live in a society where everyone is judged on the basis of the content of their character. I have only met one person who didn't have a dream. I think her words speak for themselves, so I will let you read them here. I was very nervous on my way to the interview. Police Chief Perez. It was very intimidating showing up at the police station. I think of police officers as being there to arrest people. When I finally made my way up to the big office, I could feel my knees shaking. As you know, Mr. Perez is a very, very tall man. I am not very tall. He wears a very crisp uniform that is decorated with lots of shiny metals. He looks to me like he's arrested a lot of people. When I sat down opposite Police Chief Perez, he treated me like I was the most important person in the world. And he talked to me like I was an adult. He also didn't arrest me. Instead, Police Chief Perez told me about how he wants the police force to serve the needs of the people. I was inspired. Fire Chief Washington wants everyone who lives and works in Pasadena to feel safe. Mayor Turnick told me how involved the citizens of Pasadena are, how much they volunteer and donate to their community. Mayor Turnick also let me sit in the mayor's seat. I don't know, but I think it suits me. It's thrilling to talk to people in leadership roles, but I have to admit that it's the normal, everyday person who I learn the most from, like Anne-Marie, the children's librarian at the Pasadena Central Library. She's a single mother of 2 children, one of whom is autistic. She loves being a children's librarian, but dreams of publishing a book one day. This is Oscar. He's 29 years old, and he's been homeless for 15 years. He dreams of opening up his own skateboard store. He told me that there is nothing better than skateboarding. I heard a lot from the people I spoke with that they would like to know their neighbors more, or that they are lonely. This is Lee Goldsmith. She just got a job at the Huntington, and she says that she waves at her neighbors, but no one has ever waved back at her. This is Lorna Vag. She moved to Pasadena a few years ago, and she says she doesn't have many friends. This is Penn. He moved here from the South and says his neighbors keep to themselves and aren't friendly to him. I think we all yearn to feel connected. When I first started this project, I made a list of all the people I really wanted to interview. I decided to reach for the top. The mayor, the police chief, fire chief. Then I thought, go big or go home, and put Congresswoman Judy Chu on my list too. You've got a dream, right? But this is the crazy part. Anyone can go on the internet and find people's email addresses and email them. Wait, it gets crazier. They will email you back. Seriously, even if you're 10 years old, they will email you back. As much as there are things going on in the world that I would like to change, there's an awful lot that is right when I can email a congresswoman or a mayor and they will take the time to meet with me. It just goes to show you that anyone can make a difference. You don't have to be an adult, you can be any age, as long as you have something you really believe in and you're prepared to work for it. Greta Thunberg is an inspiration to me. When I see what she is doing for climate change, I'm excited to think of all that I can do. For anyone who is my age and wants to make a difference in the world, I hope that seeing what I'm doing makes you realize that you can do it too. Because you can. Sometimes when I tell people that I want to heal the deep divide in our country with a book, I can see that they don't think it's possible. Maybe they're right. Maybe one book won't be able to change people's hearts and minds, but maybe it can. Maybe it's a seed that will start something bigger. And maybe when our hearts are connected, our heads will come together to solve problems. I'm young and I'm a dreamer, and if the future of my community and country will soon be resting on my shoulders, I don't think that being an optimist is a bad thing. It seems to me maybe this world needs more optimists and dreamers. Thank you.
Stay up here. That was so great.
Thank you.
Raise your hand if you're a fan of Emerson. And we're starting the Emerson fan club right now. So we want to, both Day One and the UNA chapter would like to thank Emerson for her optimism, for her bravery, and for her initiative to do something about what she wanted to accomplish. And you touched all of us with that video and with your words. So thank you for being a leader. We'll be interviewing you soon, right? Book signing next week, Romans. Can we get a yes?
Yes.
Do you want to say anything, Judith?
Yes, I would.
Here.
Emerson, thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. I want you to know, through your project and speaking your voice, you are exemplifying and modeling for everyone these goals. You are moving that whole agenda forward, and you're an inspiration to all of us, because what you're doing as one person is making a difference. And you're inspiring to me and everyone here, because if you can do it, we can all do it too, and follow your example. And I'd like to present you with this certificate
Thank you so
from the
much.
United Nations Association, and it says, United Nations Association of the United States of America, Pasadena Chapter, honors Emerson Forrester for her commitment.
I'm gonna give you the mic.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
I bet.
For her commitment to making the world better for all. So congratulations,
Yeah.
Emerson.
Thank you.
And
Round of applause for Emerson.
And we also have a long tradition. We always give our speakers a certificate to take home with them and also flowers. So we have flowers for Emerson. And the leaves here are olive from an olive tree, and the olive branches represent peace.
Thank you so much.
And the red roses are because we're in Pasadena.
If she can do it, anyone can do it. So I want you to all take out your cell phone right now and open up your browser. I know you all have cell phone. Where's Mayor Terry? Mayor Terry, I know you have cell phone. You gotta take out your cell phone right now. Take out your cell phone, open up the web browser. I want you to type in to the following address, unausa.org/human-rights. And look next to the person next to you. If they're having trouble finding it, please help them. Not everyone is tech savvy. So the address is unausa.org/human-rights. Once you're on that page, scroll to Be a Human Rights Campaign. So I would like to challenge everyone to take a pledge with me. I will respect your rights regardless of who you are. I will uphold your rights even when I disagree with you. When anyone's human rights are denied, everyone's rights are undermined. So I will stand up. I will raise my voice. I will take action. I will use my rights to stand up for your rights. And if you go ahead and click down that red button, sign the pledge, it's going to ask you very general information. Everything is private, nothing will go out. And go ahead and sign the pledge. This is how we can take action. This is how we can speak together, protecting each other. Thank you so much for taking a pledge with me. Thank you. The world, thank you.